umeshoti.
Hebu toka. Uko sawa?
Sasa at least lakini na nyinyi mkwange mnaweka pia tissue.
Ziko zimejaa, labda mmemaliza huko.
Hakuna. Wewe nilikuandikia message.
Hapana.
Very good. Kwa nini unaandikia shemeji matusi kwa simu yake alafu unasema ni mimi nilimwandikia? Calm down.
I don't know you now.
I know you and I want to give you secrets.
Mama, let me tell you, do not even
what
know
secrets?
Tayangu alinipatia tatu skuli nama nikatululu.
Kona.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the broadcast. I'm Jackie Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. Now, to kick off this broadcast, more than 200 children from Komboni Primary School in Korogosho have been sensitized on gender-based violence in a move aimed at strengthening early awareness and empowering learners to identify and report abuse. The activation, led by the Activate Nairobi campaign in partnership with the Social Justice Traveling Theatre, used creative arts to help children understand the importance of equality, empathy and personal safety. Through interactive theatre, learners engaged in storytelling, dialogue and role play designed to introduce positive gender norms and build confidence to speak out against harmful behavior. Organizers say the approach allows children to easily grasp sensitive issues while learning how to protect themselves and their peers.
It is very important for the children to learn at early age because it will protect them and it will reduce the number of gender-based violence cases. If children learn from early age, whatever they see in the society or the community, they will be able to identify whatever is happening and they can run to police station and make reports.
We are trying through art, exhibitions, theater, other type of performance to send a message, spark interest and conversation. We believe that also being within the community and in schools is key to spark and develop a discourse that will bring about change in society.
In other news, Isiolo leaders and livestock keepers are calling on the county security apparatus to evict herders from the neighboring Migori County from the Chari Ward grazing zone. The calls come after clashes that led to the death of 2 National Police reservists and injury to a third on Sunday afternoon. Led by Governor Abdi Guyo, the leaders condemned the clashes while calling out the influx of herders from neighboring counties without following the laid-down procedures and seeking permission from the host communities.
Kama wanahitaji sehemu ya kulisha, wakae chini na wazee wa Chari wakubaliane. Lakini mambo ya kifua, mambo ya fujo, tumesema hatuwezi ruhusu na hatuwezi kubali watu wetu wanauliwa kiholela.
Wamesema serikali ichukue jukumu ya kurestore security sehemu, kwa sababu mambo ya security ni jukumu ya serikali kuu.
Unajua aliongea sehemu yetu inaanza kuwa sisi sasa. Tumeshukua mali yetu mingi sana na sisi na familia tu. Ile kitu tunaomba urudi wao kwa salama. Kama na vita hapa tarweza leta damu mingi na magika jua yao na sisi.
Turkana County Governor Jeremiah Lomorukai has defended his 3-year record, citing major gains in healthcare, water access and preschool education. In his address to the County Assembly, Lomorukai highlighted new hospitals, expanded water projects and support for irrigation, livestock, business growth and road construction as his key achievements. He also urged leaders to collaborate and sustain development efforts in Turkana.
The county has also completed a staff housing unit at Nakechicho dispensary, ensuring that our health workers have a secure and dignified place. In the education sector, we have continued to strengthen the foundation of learning for our children. The number of ECD learners has grown. In health sector, we continue to advance the county government's fourth development agenda as we work to revitalize and secure the well-being of our people. Our commitment to enhancing food security in Turkana is grounded in a comprehensive multi-sectoral approach that strengthens agriculture, revitalizes the livestock sector, expands the fisheries industry, and promotes high potential value chains such as poultry and beekeeping.
Now moving on to Kilifi County, Boda riders have benefited from an anti-gender-based violence sensitization campaign courtesy of a community-based organization. This sensitization, which is part of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, seeks to bring the riders up to speed with the punishment that comes with being found guilty of the crime as a deterrent. Now the riders on their part hailed the initiative that will continue down to the grassroots as a significant step in the fight against GBV.
Kwa kweli ukiangalia sheria ya Kenya inavikataza vitu kama hivyo, na malipo yake ama consequences zake kwa mtu ukifanya ni kubwa sana.
Leo tumewahamasisha kwa mambo ambayo walikuwa hawajui kwamba ni makosa.
Wasikose kulipoti. Sisi kama ofisa wa polisi tuko tayari kuwasaidia, tuko tayari kusimama nao.
Tumepata ufahamu na kuona ni vipi tunavyoweza kuishi na hizo hali ambazo ziko kwenye jamii yetu kwa sasa hivi.
A section of the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers in Machakos County has called on the government to confirm intern teachers in junior secondary for permanent and pensionable terms. Led by Machakos Branch Vice Chair Yvonne Musyoka, the group wants autonomy for junior secondary teachers to manage their activities effectively. Also, the group threatened to hold a nationwide strike in January if all their demands were not met.
The commission should have a vertical transfer of teachers. Let the senior secondary school teachers who are qualified in C5 go and administer in junior secondary schools. That will ease first stagnation of the senior secondary schools, and this will create more job opportunities and promotion positions of the senior schools, being administrators at JSS schools.
Wanasema Minet ilikuwa inahitaji amendment kidogo tu. Tulikuwa tunataka comprehensive medical cover, hatutaki SHA. Kwa nini hatutaki SHA? Sisi tulikuwa kwa Minet. At the same time tulikuwa kwa SHA. Hivyo tulikuwa tunafanya double deductions from our payslip.
We want to request and demand for nothing short than confirmation of these teachers to permanent and pensionable terms.
And we now take you live to the media center at the Red Cross building, where MPs from the northeastern region led by Mandera North Member of Parliament Abdullahi Bashir are addressing the drought situation in the northern frontier counties. Let's listen in.
I'm a pastoralist, the mainstay of quite a multitude of Kenyans who are citizens. So we don't need an emergency. We need the government to rightfully address itself to what is so expected of it. We can't always cry of drought now and tomorrow it is flooding. So it is disaster after the other, a disaster begetting a disaster. So we need a fund. There is NDMA. What does it do? Why is it not funded? Many other institutions. So it is a lack of preparedness. We have disaster risk reduction policy well developed by this country, unfortunately implemented in South Africa, our own policy, and doing well. Why do we develop policies just to attract dust in shelves and we don't implement? So it's about the seriousness of institutions. We knew a drought will come. And I even know, even after this drought, another one shall come. Shall we always be in front of cameras? Shall we be cry babies? It is about professionalism and planning, pre-planning for what is to come. We don't have to firefight. We will always be with drought, but a serious government must address itself sustainably to addressing disasters that will always be coming around. So with that mind, I don't want to be here next year again talking of drought. Quite honestly, the media has been talking, always showing a picture of a Turkana kid, malnourished, in a very traumatizing. So we don't want this. We don't want to appeal to Oxfam civil society organization. It is the government. The buck stops with the government, and they should address the issues.
Well, that is a delegation of members of parliament from the northeastern region, led by Abdullahi Bashir, calling on the government to intervene on the prevailing drought situation. And now move on to a different report where Migori County is gearing up to host the 5th edition of the Pini Luo Festival, an annual celebration that showcases the culture, heritage, identity, norms and practices of the Luo community. Migori County Secretary Oscar Olema announced that the 2025 festival will take a different approach from previous editions, with a stronger emphasis on inclusivity and celebration of the region's cultural diversity. As part of this year's expanded program, the county will host a cultural extravaganza for non-Luo communities on December 10th and 11th this year.
The early editions have been held in Kisumu County, Siaya County, Homa Bay County, and last year in December in Siaya County, that was graced by His Excellency the President. In this occasion in Migori County, because of the dynamism of our county, we are doing this with a little twist. It will be a very, very dynamic, very rich extravaganza where we will exhibit all the other cultures that are non-Luo who live in Migori County.
Nyandarua Governor Moses Kiari Badilisha has defended his administration's development track record, saying there is still more to come ahead of the 2027 general election. At the State of the County address in Nyandarua County Assembly, the governor said his pursuit of peace and unity has set his administration apart from the previous regime. He challenged elected leaders to focus on delivering campaign promises.
Recently, Nyandarua was #1 in Kenya when it comes to reduction of maternal deaths. We have increased our facilities from 78 to over 90. Medicines are in hospital. We have brought about specialization. We are visiting doctors who are coming for neurology, orthopedic, and they are really assisting our people. Si tumejenga madarasa 500, watoto wetu Januari wanaendelea kukunya uji, tunaendelea, tumeajiri walimu 250 ambao wamehitimu, tumewaongeza mishahara na tunaendelea kufanya kazi.
Kwa hivyo yeyote ambaye anasikia bunge alifanyi kazi, let him write a petition and let the petition be presented to the office of the speaker through the office of the clerk.
On health matters, a Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Union Machakos County chapter is threatening to mobilize members to down tools over what it terms as county government's continued failure to honor a collective bargaining agreement signed last year. Lower Eastern KMPDU Chair Charles Okumu accuses the county leadership of deliberate foot dragging, citing unresolved concerns including delayed staff promotions and failure to streamline medical insurance. He says the situation is so dire that some health workers admitted to intensive care and high dependency unit are unable to settle hospital bills due to unpaid insurance remittances.
We have a colleague who is in the HDU, we have another one in the ICU, we have a colleague who is waiting for surgery and they cannot have that surgery done for them. A very senior colleague suffered fracture of the leg the other day. They cannot even get care from any facility because Social Health Authority has to fund part of your care in whichever facility. If it is not paid by your employer, then you are stuck. You are stuck between yourself and your relatives and your colleague doctors who have to fundraise for you. We have been negotiating for 6 months from July of this year. We are in December. These issues have not been solved as we speak. So this is a final warning, and we are going to get the national office. We are going to meet the national officials, and we are going to issue a strike notice if these issues are not addressed. If these issues are not addressed within the shortest time possible. And really that is our message, because we've had negotiations sometimes that only end in boardrooms.
The International Conference on Colonial Crimes in Africa held in Algiers, Algeria, has concluded with calls for the establishment of national truth and reparations commissions within African Union member states as part of the Algiers Declaration. Delegates at the two-day forum also recommended full restitution of colonial archives and accountability for crimes committed, including their lasting impact on African societies. The conference supports the creation and strengthening of legal mechanisms at national, regional and continental levels to criminalize colonization under international law. Advocates for persons living with disability in Kakamega County are urging the county government to prioritize employing people with disabilities as community health workers, arguing that they are best positioned to understand, represent and effectively champion the issues affecting their own communities. Their appeal came during an awareness forum in Isiolo sub-county where concerns were raised over rising cases of abuse, discrimination and mistreatment both within families and at some health facilities.
Tunadhulumiwa sana katika familia. Hatuonwi kama watu katika familia ambazo tunaishi na familia ambazo tumeoleka. Alafu sana sana tunapata shida wakati tunapoenda hospitalini. Hatushughulikiwi kama watu kama wenzetu.
Wanawake ambao wanaishi na ulemavu katika CHP model ambayo inatekelezwa katika community zetu kupitia kwa CHPs ambao ni wahudumu wa afya wa kiwango cha chini wa vijijini. So ikiwa serikali yetu inaweza kuajiri wanawake walemavu kwa hiyo model, itasaidia kufikia walemavu wengi.
They have a right to family planning method. They are free to come and be given family planning method depending on their disabilities.
The Mogra Rescue Center Children's Home in Nairobi County has received an early Christmas from Nova Pioneer Tattoo International School. Students, teachers and staff of the school visited these children in Muthaiga North Street and brought them assortment goods. Among them are various foodstuff, clothes, shoes and more than 300,000 shillings in cash. Apart from giving the early Christmas, they also interacted with the kids and played games including football and taekwondo. Mogra Children's Rescue Center, established more than 20 years ago, offers safety, education, healthcare and shelter to orphans and those abandoned by society.
Today we're doing Spread the Cheer Day. We're here because we want to spread hope to the children at Mogra Rescue Center, and also because it's the festive season and they deserve something to be happy about, and also spread our cheer and maybe make joyful memories with them.
Now we've brought donations of different kinds, but the first one that I must highlight is the gift of time. The gift of time and friendship. We're just saying to our friends at Mogra, here we are. We want to be part of your lives. And we were spending this day not as a one-off, but hopefully for many more years to come.
At Mogra, we have more than 651 children as of today, aging from months old to all the way to 17 and above. So we have children brought in by the DCI, police, children department, hospital, social workers, all centers. We have court referrals. We're working together with the DCI for the anti-human trafficking department, and we take care of children rescued, abandoned, all sorts of children from all different walks of life.
Well, that report brings us to our first break here on Lunchtime News. Don't go too far, we still have more news coming up.
What kind of a mother are you? Zawadi amekufanyia nini?
Kama Zawadi anataka kusoma, hata umpeleke kwa kichaka, atasoma.
Nikusaidiaje?
Ni hata kwa natulipa ama
nikiinua hii Biblia, utatafuna nyasi kama miaka 7 kama Nebukadneza.
Is that all you can say? Mama kanisa?
Unajua kesho nitakuwa kama Monica analia.
Something bad might happen to you, Zawadi.
Watanitesa tu na kazi za nyumba.
Why are you so cruel to this kid, surely?
Get out. Usitoke kwa hiyo room.
Welcome back. Embattled Nyamira Governor Amos Nyaribo has pleaded not guilty to charges leveled against him as the Senate began the hearings of his removal from office by impeachment. Nyaribo, who took the stand on Wednesday before the plenary, denied responsibility for 6 charges he is facing, including support of unconstitutional bunge machinani and making appointments without the approval of the county assembly. The governor's lead counsel, Elias Mutume, while making his preliminary remarks, urged the Senate not to allow the impeachment motion to proceed to the next stage, saying it does not meet the threshold. However, the county assembly lead counsel, Katwa Kigen, disputed the preliminary objections, arguing the motion has met all the requirements and ought to be considered to its logical conclusion, rather.
His Excellency Amos Kimwomi Nyaribo
presided over and influenced the approval of recruitment of staff without an approved budget as demonstrated in County Executive Minutes MIN number 04/02/2021 of 26 February 2021 in his response to an inquiry from the Controller of Budget. This recruitment was approved by the County Executive with full knowledge that there was no budgetary provision. In the said response to issue number 4 in the question, the Governor alleged that in lieu of the budget, the recruitment was based on the savings made from various separations, which included but not limited to recruitment and resignations. 2, despite a resolution of a county assembly to freeze new employments on account of lack of budgetary provision for any recruitment dated 1st July, Honorable Amos Kimomi Nyaribo, how do you plead to the 2 grounds, guilty or not guilty? Ground 1.
Not guilty.
Ground 2.
Not guilty.
Thousands of urban dwellers across Kajiado County are set to benefit from new lease titles for their plots in a new land reforms initiative aimed at curbing land fraud. The reforms target 36,800 validated plots in 36 towns, with the first phase covering Non-Kopir in Kitengera, Bulbul, Namanga, Isinya, Oloitoktok and Kajiado Town. Kajiado County Governor Joseph Olelenku says the documents will help unlock investment and allow owners to access financing from recognized lending institutions.
Not only set a pace for our county, but also for our country, that it is possible to use devolution to address problems that affect our citizens in our counties, in our villages, and in our country. And so today, as we address the issue of land in Kajiado, I am very proud as your governor that...
So last year, the county government of Kajiado and the National Land Commission processed 370 letters of allotment, and it is on that basis that some of the beneficiaries present today are receiving the certificate of lease. This marks steady progress in securing tenure for Kajiado residents.
Hii hatimiliki si inanifanya mimi mwana Kajiado kamili na kuweza kuendelea na mambo mengi tu yale yalikuwa yamefungika.
Born and raised in Bungoma, Dr. Mukhisa Kituyi's journey from student activism to global leadership has been nothing short of remarkable. From serving as Kenya's Minister for Trade and Industry to becoming the Secretary General of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, his career has spanned both local and international arenas. Now, in 2025, Kituyi takes on a new role, as the head of a secretariat and spokesperson for the United Opposition, positioning himself once again at the heart of Kenya's political landscape. Let's take a look. Dr. Mukhisa Kituyi was born and bred in Western Kenya's Bungoma district, now Bungoma County. Admitted to the University of Nairobi to study political science and international relations, he had been part of a student leadership that was expelled from the university in 1979. At a time when political science was studied cautiously but not practiced by its students. He studied at Makerere University in Uganda and graduated with honors. He then obtained master's and doctoral degrees from Norway University of Bergen in Norway and worked in organizations such as the Norwegian Agency for International Development, among others. Politics was in his blood, and it was just a matter of time
before he threw in his bid. He served as the executive director of the Forum for the Restoration of Democracy. When the party split into Ford Kenya under Jaramogi Oginga Odinga and Kenneth Matiba's Ford Asili in 1992, Kituyi aligned himself with Odinga and later that year on the Kimilili parliamentary seat. He would bring development to Kimilili by flushing out the unfortunate culture of giving handouts to the needy and replacing it with development projects. A political career spanning 15 years and a successful one at that, at one point serving as opposition chief whip and chaired the Defense and Foreign Affairs Committee. On the regional front, he was at the center of major trade negotiations, chairing councils of African and COMESA trade ministers and leading talks of the World Trade Organization during the Doha round of WTO trade negotiations. But it wasn't until his third term as MP that he and President Mwai Kibaki finally coincided in government. By this time, Kituyi had joined Kibaki's National Rainbow Coalition Kenya Na Kenya party and had once more been elected to represent Kimilili. In 2002, he was appointed Minister for Trade and Industry. Kituyi's role and emphasis on trade diplomacy in the region, the continent and beyond showed results. Kituyi lost his parliamentary seat in 2007 elections. For the next 4 years, he served in a team of experts to advise the East African community on challenges and opportunities for advancing the East African Federation. And during the final year, he was a consultant for the African Union Commission, helping develop the structure for a Pan-African Free Trade Area. In 2012, he was a fellow of the African Growth Initiative of the Brookings Institution, Washington, D.C., a non-profit organization that conducts research on innovative ways of solving societal problems, when he was appointed as the 7th Secretary General of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, beginning September 2013. At the completion of his 4-year term, he was reappointed for a second term and resigned in 2021 to vie for presidency in Kenya in 2022. In 2025, former UN Trade Chief Dr. Mukhisa Kituyi was unveiled as the new spokesperson and head of Secretariat for the United Opposition, a coalition of parties seeking to build a formidable challenge against President William Ruto in 2027. Jackie Wambiru, The Cabinet.
And now news making headlines in business news. Kenya today joins the rest of the world in marking the International Day of Persons with Disability, a day that underscores the need for inclusion, accessibility and equal participation for all. This year, the Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation, REREC, is commemorating the day through an initiative focused on supporting persons with disabilities and advancing inclusive development, particularly through clean cooking solutions and energy access support. We're now joined by our reporter Trevor Ngenda, who is at REREC's Jamhuri Energy Center here in Nairobi. Trevor, what more can you tell us?
A very good afternoon to you, Jackie Wambiru. We are coming to you from Jamhuri Sports Ground, where Kenya today joins the rest of the world in marking the International Day for Persons Living with Disability. And we are currently at REREC Energy Center here at Jamhuri Grounds in Nairobi, where the corporation has used this day to honor the people living with disability and, of course, to celebrate the leadership. And it's a day to spotlight equal opportunities and also to advocate for for equal opportunities for them, and of course to promote inclusion and dignity for all, as well as boosting innovation as key drivers for equal participation. And joining me this afternoon is the senior management of the Renewable Energy and Rural Electrification Corporation, and I'm here with the CEO, Dr. Rose Mkalama. Maybe you can begin by telling us the significance of this day. When we know you for rural electrification, maybe what's the day's significance to you?
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Rose Mkalama. Our responsibility as REREC is to electrify rural areas, but you realize that you cannot exclude people with disability because they form part of the population. You know that comprises about 15% of our population, and we would like and normally do include them in our planning to ensure that even as we electrify, business premises, homes, we do not leave behind people with disability. We are very specific about identifying people with disability in our electrification process, and we include them in our planning. When we go and electrify a project, we ensure that we prioritize them and ensure that they are connected. We also support them with small businesses so that we can now support them both socially and economically, so that they can also be able to raise some little money for their own upkeep. It is very critical for REREC to work with these communities. When you look at our projects, for example, we do electrification of, say, schools. Within those schools, we also have people with disability, and this way we are able to support them and improve their education standards, and therefore they're able to access education like any other Kenyan. We are also able to connect hospitals where they access health facilities, and just like any other citizen, they can be able to walk to a hospital and get treatment because of their special conditions. You realize there are some drugs that require refrigeration that they may require, which we never used to have in hospitals in the rural areas. With the electrification projects that we are undertaking, we are very happy to report that people with disability have been able to access health care, and therefore we have been able to improve their lives and even increase their life and lifespan.
Maybe what challenges have you experienced, especially while trying to ensure equitable access to energy and electricity in the rural areas?
There are several challenges that we have experienced. Of course, the bigger challenge is the budget. You know, we are about 52 million Kenyans in this country. The law says that you connect everybody, the 52 million Kenyans. But of course, this cannot be done immediately, but we are very happy because the government is very focused on the last mile connectivity program, and we are reaching all the 290 constituencies. In fact, even for areas that are far away from the grid, the government has come up with programs, off-grid programs, to electrify those areas, especially in the areas of mini-grids and standalone solar systems. So we are very happy to report that we are reaching every Kenyan.
All right.
The other challenge we have, of course, is our demographics. Sometimes we are sparsely populated in some areas. So the cost of electrifying those areas, of course, become more. But we are working very closely with the Ministry of Energy. We are working very closely with Treasury. And we are also working with development partners to ensure that we get sufficient funding for our projects. Yeah. One of our biggest programs that we are having is the matching fund facility, which we are doing with the counties and also the constituencies and the NCDF, to ensure that we get money. They give us a shilling and we match it for a shilling. And therefore, we have been able to do more projects.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Rose. Maybe I can engage you, Bob, the manager for the centers. What criteria was used, for example, to pick the people who are gathered here today, and what are their, what needs were prioritized?
Thank you very much, Trevor. Just as my CEO has mentioned, today's event was very critical for our corporation. And for us, it is not the first time we are doing this. We have been living among ourselves with the people who are disabled. Back to your question, today's event was done collectively with the other partners. One major partner being the Mother Ministry, led by Waziri, Ministry of Energy, and also the beneficiaries of these improved cook stoves were given to us by the Social Protection Department, which is also a key partner of REREC as we try to improve on our mandate to the public and Kenyans.
All right. Thank you. Maybe I engage you, sir. You can tell us your name and quickly, what other projects are you implementing and who are your key partners?
Yes, I'm Engineer Freddy Sugar. Actually, the Energy Center's activities still fall under my docket. Yeah, so at REREC, we, of course, do quite a number of projects as listed. Among them is electrification, rural electrification, but we also do projects on renewable energy. And basically what we've been doing here, mostly we've been distributing equipment to those living with disabilities, which are renewable energy based. This is an area that is a focus, and the corporation still subscribes. As our mandate, we also subscribe to the Sustainable Development Goals, especially goal number 17 on partnerships and collaboration. So we have quite a number of partners we work with. One key, especially to this event, has been GIZ. GIZ has been supporting us very closely through the project that we have been working by the name GCF, Global Funds, to be able to support those who are needy and also to promote renewable energy.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. I thank you all. Thank you, Engineer. I thank you so much. I want to hand it over back to you, Jackie. We'll have this and more details in our subsequent bulletins. Back to you in studio.
Well, thank you, Trevor, for that update. As the country marks the International Day of Persons with Disability, the call for greater inclusion and accessibility remains urgent. We now move on to a different report where players in the agricultural food systems ecosystem are being urged to equip, empower and encourage more youth to venture into growing the country's food systems if Kenya and the region is to be more food secure. Speaking during the official opening of the East African Youth in Agri-Food Systems Expo 2025 in Nairobi, Ministry of Agriculture Deputy Director Dr. Peter Orangi said the future in food resilience lies in empowering the continent's youngest population using best practices in technology to feed the underserved.
Today's youth are not just beneficiaries. They are not beneficiaries of change, but they are innovators, entrepreneurs, job creators, and drivers of climate food systems. So our task, actually, as we deliberate, is to enable them to scale, to connect, and thrive.
Really being intentional on harvesting and harnessing the critical elements that attract youth in the agribusiness. We've studied literature and whatever we see in the public space, the issues of access to land, the access to agricultural finance, and you'll be hearing about this more. I think those are very critical. They have to be embedded within the policies, the strategies, but also the engagements like this as platforms, be able to cultivate the mindset that we all need.
Farmers have been tipped on organic farming to reduce production costs and conserve the environment. Food Alliance Congo Basin Coordinator Josephine Turkana says agroecology is key in reducing the use of synthetic fertilizer and pesticides that are also harmful to the soils and environment. The government has also been urged to create adequate policies that will support agroecology, especially practices that will enlist women into conservation agriculture to boost nutrition.
women are those who are practicing agriculture. They are the ones who are producing food in the value chain. They are producing a lot, but they lack land control. That makes them very unfavorable to choose types of practices, also the control of finance and the fund that they shall have access to improve in agriculture.
One of the things we do in agroecology is paying attention not just to the farming process but also to the environment, bearing in mind that soil is the lifebone of agriculture. So we are paying attention to the environment. We are making sure that all the processes that are being used is favorable to the environment. We're making sure that there's minimal land degradation. We're making sure that the land is sustainable and we can continue to go back to the land, go back to the soil.
And we are testing the different kinds of technologies that farmers are adopting for agroecology. That includes the kind of technologies that improve soil fertility, the kind of technologies that help in terms of processing and prolonging the shelf life of food, and the technologies that are being used in terms of sort of accessing markets, so innovations around market systems.
Prada announced on Tuesday that it has acquired Versace, bringing two major Italian luxury fashion houses under one roof. The $1.38 billion deal expands Prada's portfolio of designer brands, including Miu Miu, as it seeks to compete with rivals including French luxury fashion conglomerate Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, which owns Dior and Fendi, in addition to Louis Vuitton. Now here are the details of this and other stories making headlines across the borders.
Proceeds from the sale will help cut debt for Capri Holdings, Versace's former parent company. The firm said Prada's agreed price is well below the $2.15 billion that Capri Holdings paid in 2018 to acquire Versace. A brand that has since faced sluggish sales, Prada said in a one-line statement on Tuesday that it has completed the acquisition of Versace, having received all required regulatory clearances. Capri Chief Executive John D. Idle said they plan to use the proceeds to repay majority of their debt, which will substantially strengthen their balance sheet. Meanwhile, Airbus has confirmed an unspecified number of its aircraft will undergo inspections after a supplier quality issue with metal panels used on some A320 planes was identified. The problem, which the firm said impacts a limited number of planes, comes days after thousands of the same model were grounded for an urgent software update. On Tuesday, the European manufacturer said it was taking a conservative approach by checking all planes that could be affected, even though not all are expected to need repairs. Finally, YouTube says Australia's rushed new laws to block teens from its platform will mean children will be less safe, as its robust parental controls will be stripped away. Parents will lose their ability to supervise their teens or teens' accounts, such as content settings or blocking channels. From 10th December, when a social media ban for under 16s starts, children will still be able to view videos but without an account. Communications Minister Annika Wells responded by saying it was outright weird that YouTube was highlighting the dangers of its platform for children. If YouTube is reminding us all that it is not safe, that's a problem that YouTube needs to fix, Wells said on Wednesday.
Is Kenya facing a donkey-less future? The answer is yes, if current trends continue. The population of donkeys in Kenya continues to drop on account of illegal trade in donkey meat and skins in China and changing climatic conditions. Solomon Onyango, Country Director, Donkey Sanctuary Kenya, says plans are underway to create policies that will institute stiffer penalties for unlicensed donkey trade.
According to statistics from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, in 2019, the donkey population in Kenya was recorded at 1.2 million from 1.8 million donkeys in 2009, representing a 50% drop in a decade. The population decline is due to demand for skin in the Chinese market after the Far East nation banned the slaughter of its donkeys.
Yet there are so many laws in this country that are able to
to be able to enforce that, because even the penal code, you find that we are told that if you steal an animal with an intention of selling the skin and the hide, then you are liable, and that criminality should be able to be enforced.
Animal experts say there is need for heightened surveillance in parts of eastern and central Kenya, where the illegal donkey trade is on the increase.
Some of the achievements that we have had on the welfare of donkeys, one is that the other day we were having a rapid response initiative, which we were actually concentrating more on the enforcement of the laws, because at that particular time, the donkeys were being subjected to inhumane acts.
Solomon Onyango, the country director, Donkey Sanctuary Kenya, says Kenya is also a conduit for illegal donkey skin from regional countries due to weak laws.
The challenges we have noted, some of them is either the donkeys are lacking veterinary care because either the professional service providers do not know how to handle the donkey, or they are not there. So we want to see how this one can be improved.
Animal welfare groups are planning to leverage on the proposed animal bill to press for tougher penalties for illegal donkey trade. The African Union has already imposed a continent-wide 15-year ban on the commercial slaughter of donkeys for their skins.
Became the quickest player to reach 100 goals in Premier League history after scoring for Manchester City in their 5-4 win over Fulham last night. Phil Foden also scored twice in City's victory. On the other hand,
he's done well. He's shrugged off the markers. He's brought in Reinders. 2-0 City.
Well, that brings us to the end of the bulletin this afternoon. Thank you for watching. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Disemba imefika na Ingo FM inawasha burdan kwa nguvu tukisherekea miaka 13 ya kuwepo. Bungoma, mpo tayari? Tarehe 5 na 7 Disemba tunawaletea kifurushi maalum cha kusherekea miaka 13, miaka za muziki bora, hadithi zenye uzito na kumbukumbu tamu tulizounda pamoja na wasikilizaji wetu. Siku ya tarehe 5 Disemba tutaanza sherehe kwa upandaji miti katika shule ya St. Teresa Special huko Webuye. Kisha baadaye tutatembelea watoto katika shule hiyo ya St. Teresa kuwapatia zawadi pamoja na kukata keki